Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started. I think most everyone's joined so far. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Social Media Marketing for Today's Restaurants, Proven Best Practices, which will be presented by Emma Vaughn with Main Street Hub. Main Street Hub helps small businesses get new customers through Facebook, Twitter, Yelp, and Instagram. Emma has facilitated national partnerships with companies such as Square, Toast, OpenTable, 5 Stars, and ChowNow, and she's looking forward to sharing that knowledge with you today. I'm Patricia Capella, the conference manager for the Urban Exposition Food Shows, which recently produced the International Restaurant and Food Service Show of New York, held last week, where Emma spoke to a standing room only crowd on the same topic. Urban Expo also produces the Western Food Service and Hospitality Expo, taking place in Los Angeles, August 19th to the 21st, and the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Show, taking place September 6th through the 8th in Orlando. We do invite you to visit thefoodshows.com for more information on all of our upcoming events. A few housekeeping notes before Emma begins the presentation. All audience members are on listen-only mode, which means you are muted. We will be monitoring audience engagement on the dashboard, so we do encourage you to participate by using the question pane. Just a reminder that the webinar will be an hour, and we will have 10 minutes at the end, enough time for questions and answers at the end of the session. This webinar, as well as others in our series, will be made available on our website in the coming week. Now let me turn the program over to Emma Vaughn. Emma?
Thanks, Patricia, and welcome everybody. This is one of my favorite topics, social media marketing, and this is specifically proven best practices for restaurants. So just to add on to what Patricia said, I head up our local outreach team at Main Street Hub. So I spend my time putting together educational webinars like today and in-person seminars all across the country. So I just got back from the International Restaurant Food Show in New York City, had a blast, got out right before the snow. And I will be traveling shortly down to Oceanside, California to do another seminar, followed by Austin and other great cities. So it's probably one of the coolest parts about this job is that I get to travel and actually meet local heroes like yourself. And just a little bit about Main Street Hub, for those of you unfamiliar, we've been around since 2010. And we offer a 100% do-it-for-you service. That's Matt and Andrew on the screen there. They started the company. Great guys. It's been a pleasure being at Main Street Hub since, for me, I've been there since 2013, which is amazing. And the reason why it's really important to share what we've done is because it really backs everything that I'm going to share today and is how I'm able to consider it proven best practices. So we've written over 10 million posts on social media, which is a lot of writing and therefore a lot of data and a lot of experience. And we've been doing this complete do-it-for-you service for now over 10,000 local businesses where we go to work every day managing for you on your behalf your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even sites like Yelp and Google. And like I said, we work with thousands of local businesses. And in order to do that, to write on your behalf and tweet and respond to reviews, we really have to capture your unique voice and your brand in order to do that. And so at the end of the day, every day we save you time because we're on your sites and it looks as if you're doing this work, but we're responding to every single comment you get, review, wall post, tagged mention that comes in for your restaurant. So that's just a little bit about Main Street Hub. And here's the agenda for today. I'm going to kick us off with Instagram, very popular platform for the restaurant industry. Then I'll go into one of my personal favorites, Twitter. And what's really exciting about Twitter is that not only it's the #1 platform for customer service, also it is a way, one of the unique platforms that you can actually see a clear return on investment. Yes, a clear return on investment. So I'm going to get into a real life example with a restaurant. And then I'll go into Facebook and wrap it up with a really important topic. This could probably be a whole webinar, but that is how to track social media metrics. This is a really popular question that I was getting in my seminar, so I wanted to make sure I included this in the webinar today. And then already a little social media to do. At the bottom of the screen, you'll notice tweet us at Main Street Hub. We would love to hear from you. There are over hundreds of people listening in live right now. We want to know what you think of the webinar. Let us know that you're listening in, or if you have any questions. But without further ado, let's dive into Instagram. So I titled this Wow Your Customers with Instagram because this is truly the platform where you can do that. As restaurants, you already have exciting visualization, your food, your staff, the interior, the exterior of your business. But I cannot skip over the importance of varying your content. So I encourage you to check out the screen, write down these 6 different ways you can vary your content, and think about it this way. You might already be on Instagram. I hope you are, but is your presence really doing as much as it can on Instagram? And I would imagine you're not fully satisfied. Otherwise, why would you be taking time out of your day to join us for an hour? There's something missing, right? There's something you know you could be doing better. And it might be as simple as this, just varying your content with these 6 different ways. And when you're posting relevant, compelling content at the times your followers want to see it, what that can do for you is pull in new customers, and not only new customers, but you can also keep your loyal customers coming back time and time again to dine with you. And photos are not the only thing you can post. I know that might be stating the obvious for some of you gurus on the line, but it's something I have to constantly remind people when I'm consulting restaurants. It's not just about the photos. So integrate Instagram's video, integrate the carousel, the boomerang features, and it can truly help to wow your customers there and get your feed to be more interesting. Also, with that in mind, I want to share some actual examples here from restaurants. And I love this quick breakdown. This is just a few of my favorite ways to keep your content interesting, from, yes, engaging photos as well as videos, trivia questions, and then my personal favorite, tips. So there's a lot of education in the restaurant industry, whether that's the benefits of adding avocado to your burger, to how to get the seasoning just right on that fried chicken. I mean, you don't want to give away all your secrets, right? But there's a lot of interesting ways to keep your followers engaged and then keeping your content interesting. Now, think about it this way too. This actually came up when we were at the New York Food Show, the International Restaurant Show. And that was a lot of the restaurants I spoke to, they were interested in targeting millennial customers. They really wanted to know, how do I target the millennials? They seem like the movers and the shakers. And it's pretty simple. Millennials don't want to be sold to. So you want to sound authentic in your content, not too promotional. They want to know, and this is actually the cool part, they want to know your story. You know, why did you start your restaurant? Why did you start your business? And tell that, share why you're unique, and give us some interesting content to chew on. And that's going to keep us coming back, checking out what you're posting today and the next day and the day after that. So here are just one example. This is a barbecue joint. I love the caption, disclaimer, this picture may cause hunger. So true when you look at that. And keep in mind too, when you're on Instagram, captions should be short and sweet. Instagram is about the visual content that you're posting more so than what you're writing. That doesn't mean just rush a caption, but just you can keep it pretty short and sweet. Also include pictures of your employees or your staff. So really interesting fact that I read the other day, because I'm constantly reading about social media, surprise, surprise. Make sure you're including people in your posts, because photos with faces get 38% more likes than photos without faces. So what a great way to also, once again, vary your content. And this is a great picture of one of the employees, again, with the short caption. And your Instagram photo, I guess a good way to think of it is it should be captivating enough to stand alone. So just avoid that temptation to over-explain in your caption. It's just going to distract the user from your photo if you have too much text. Also, a very popular topic, capturing professional photos, which I want to take a poll question. Poll questions are so fun during webinars. It's really a great way to get engagement. So we're going to run a poll, and the question here is, and give your honest opinion, which picture looks more professional? So we're going to take a poll and encourage you all to choose an answer from the poll that just popped up on your screen. And let me know, was it that picture on the left or was it the picture on the right? Still have time to give us opinion, and then we'll even broadcast the results. So when I did this question at the New York Food Show, 99% of people chose one and 1% chose the other. We'll see how, I'll let you know once we finish the poll, which is what? The 99% chose one, 1% chose the other. All right, cool. And here's what we have. So 9% said the left photo and 91% chose the right photo. Check that out. All right, so if we go back to the actual photo, let's see what that 91% chose. So here we go. And the one on the right is, in fact, yes, you guys were right. 91% of people chose the right one. I'm super impressed. That's awesome. So if you look at the one on the right, it's pretty clear why a lot of people chose this. Well, let's break it down this way. Let's start with the bad one, the one on the left. So this one here, you can see that it's really up close, the drink itself. The lighting is super poor. And we want to think about what Instagram is about. It's about capturing what's happening the instant that it's happening. It's a great place to amplify your restaurant social media marketing without spending too much time. So you snap a photo, edit it right there in the app, and voila, your post is served. So 3 tips you get the picture on the right. I'm going to break it down into 3 simple tips: framing, light, and filter. So framing, as again, I think a lot of you, since 91% chose the picture on the right, you see why this is a good photo and a good frame. But the first step to creating a crave-worthy photo is to choose the right composition. And you want to frame your picture so that it guides the viewer to the best part of the shot. So find a simple surface or backdrop that will complement it. Then number 2, light. Lighting is a key element of any photo, especially food photography. Try to stage your photo with only one light source as opposed to several conflicting light sources, and avoid using flash at all costs. Flash is not your friend. Go for natural lighting. Put it near a window if you have to. And then third, filter. So once you have taken a balanced, well-lit photo, you're ready to get it into Instagram and post it. Now, while Instagram has a wide variety of impressive filters, I know you can go down a rabbit hole with those. Be careful. We recommend that you use them sparingly, if at all. Your loyal followers, they know what your food and drinks, what they look like. So if you overly adjust the colors and tones, your photo is going to appear fake. And so what I would say, and take this away from today, capturing professional photos, trust your food, trust your beverages, and your photography will stand on its own. And if your photo does need some more punch, just try increasing the contrast or the saturation slightly without going through a bunch of filters. Chances are, that's all it needs. Now, user-generated content, the majority of consumers, they trust other diners' opinions more than advertisements. Surprise, surprise. Which is part of the reason user-generated content has become so popular. But what is user-generated content? Not everyone knows this. That's okay. I'm here to define it in a very simple way. So user-generated content, there's an example on the screen here that I'm going to explain, but it's defined as any type of content that has been created and put out there by unpaid contributors. Or I like to use a better term, your fans, your biggest fans, your customers. It can refer to pictures, videos, testimonials, tweets, blog posts, and everything in between, and is the active users, Instagram users, for example, in this case, it's the active Instagram users promoting a brand rather than the brand itself. But it's not just Instagram. You could have user-generated content on Facebook and Twitter as well. I just wanted to share this specific example from Easy Tiger in Austin. So you have this wonderful looking sandwich. I live in Los Angeles, by the way, and it's going to be lunchtime after the end of this webinar. I guarantee I'm going to be hungry from talking about food for an hour, right? So this is a picture of a sandwich. And what I love about it is it wasn't Easy Tiger that took this photo. It was one of their customers. And what they're doing, and this is a proven best practice, they're paying attention to any time their customer tags their business. And when a customer tags their business, they often repost it. So you can tell that by the caption here that @carnivore took the picture and they gave credit and wrote a caption. So this is a great way to save you time too. I know how busy you are. I worked for a dozen restaurants myself. My parents used to own a restaurant in a small town in Indiana. Go Hoosiers. And I don't know how they slept at night. Like, they literally were constantly working. And when they weren't at the restaurant, they were thinking about the restaurant. So I understand you're strapped for time. So user-generated content is a great way to save you time, but also make your content more authentic. Because obviously when I look at this photo, it's so far away from any sort of promotional ad, which I'm a millennial, don't want that. Don't promote to me. I'm seeing a photo from a happy customer. So this photo, this user-generated content, is acting like word of mouth. And that's more powerful than anything else in your marketing bucket. Word of mouth is your best friend. This is a more non-traditional user-generated content, but I'm all about thinking outside of the box. I encourage you all to do that. Get creative. Check this out. Beverly Hills Cafe. They are getting some good reviews over on Yelp. And what they did is they went to Instagram, quoted the Yelp review, and paired it with a photo. This is absolutely brilliant because they're cross-promoting a great review that they received from a happy customer, Emily, on their Yelp page, and they turned it into social media content. So again, this is word of mouth and really creative way to vary your content on social media. See, we're just building upon all these best practices one after another. And since Emily quoted these, she discussed and shared how delicious the hot yeast rolls were. That's why they paired it with this photo of their yeast rolls. I love this post. I think it's so cool. And I'll tell you what, if you add this to your social media marketing strategy, you are going to really set yourself apart from the competition. Now, hashtags, this is where I feel like people are, definitely generally understanding hashtags, but the usage of them could be improved upon, to say the least. And I think that's where I want to come in with some more education about hashtags, how they work, why you want to use them, and some best practices. And then that way you can, after this webinar today, revitalize your hashtag strategy. So hashtags, for those of you unfamiliar, I'm just kind of give a little overview. And I have an example on the screen here, but users can click on hashtags. Like, you could click on these. You can't right now, you'll just hit your computer screen. But if you were on Instagram and you clicked on these hashtags, what it would do is it helps you find relevant content to any other users who've used that hashtag, any other photos that have been hashtagged with this specific hashtag being used on the screen. Now, from a user standpoint, hashtags are used to categorize content. So one of the things I love is Taco Tuesday, for example. So if I want to look for places, restaurants who have it, or just some great photos for inspo if I'm cooking at home, I could search the hashtag Taco Tuesday, and I'll see a bunch of photos of people eating tacos or their tacos. So again, from a user standpoint, hashtags are used to categorize content, making the discovery of new or related posts easy to do and find. But when hashtags are used incorrectly, people looking for new content have to dig through a bunch of irrelevant stuff to get to what they're actually looking for. So what you want to do is, when you're thinking about hashtags, use more general popular hashtags like hashtag foodie. But you can also tack on a few descriptors of, like, the food, for example. So hashtag vegan if you're a vegan restaurant or offer a vegan patty. Also, you could tag on your city. So when I travel to Austin, which I go to a lot. Main Street Hub is headquartered there. I'll be there at the end of the month. I can't wait to see my team. In Austin, one of the popular hashtags that people use are hashtag Austin Eats to spread word about some of the delicious food in Austin. And this is one of the best ways for me to find where to go. You know, what's popping? Where should I go? I'm in Austin. Also, when you're in New York City, you want to go to happy hour, you could search hashtag happy hour New York City. So what this means for you, if you're you do have happy hour and you are in New York City and you're a bar or a restaurant, put that hashtag on your photos if you have a picture of beer like you see here. But don't go overboard, okay? Post with at least one hashtag, get around 13% more engagement. Once you go over 10, it's gonna hurt you. So don't go with the max of 30. It will actually hurt your post. So just to conclude here before we move on to the next platform, to kind of sum it up, is posting like a pro. Finding and maintaining your visual brand is incredibly important. And you can do this easily by using the same filter for all your photos so they maintain consistent coloring. When creating a graphic or promotional post, a simple way to maintain a consistent brand is to find a few key colors to use in every graphic you make. Try and find, one or two colors from your logo, for example, to use as your primary brand colors. Don't forget hashtags, but like I said, you can add up to 30 per post, but when you go over 10, engagement does decline. It starts to drop. And faces, show off your staff, show off your new hires, show off your chef. It's a great way to boost engagement on your Instagram post. So I want to switch over to Twitter, but before I do, I want to do another quick poll question for y'all. And I'm going to go ahead and put that up here on the screen. And the poll question is pretty simple and straightforward. Is your restaurant on Twitter? Do you have a Twitter handle for your restaurant? I'm always curious to see that percentage when I talk to an audience. And I do anywhere from 1 to 3 seminars/webinars a week. And I always ask this question. And I'm curious to see what the percentage breakdown is. It's usually pretty consistent. But I'm out there traveling the country encouraging people, hey, Twitter is actually relevant for restaurants and your customers. So we'll wrap that poll momentarily. So definitely give us a quick yes or no, and we'll share the breakdown here. Yep, what I expected. Okay, so it's almost 50-50. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about Twitter. And I am going to encourage the no's out there to reconsider this platform. Twitter is great for a lot of reasons. First off, Twitter has become, you might have caught this in the beginning, the most popular platform for customer service. Also, you can see a clear return on investment, which is great. But I'm going to share this. This should look a little familiar to what I just shared about Instagram, but I must reiterate it. Vary your tweets. Just like you would vary your content on Instagram, you'll want to vary your tweets. Some of my favorite tweets from restaurants are when you tweet about interesting, relevant content. So that could be just things, let's say you're a restaurant in New York City, just some things happening in the area. It doesn't have to be so about you all the time. It could be just about your local area. And another one of my favorite, relevant tips or facts. I nerd out on food education and what's healthy for my body. I know, so LA, but there's just so much interesting information about nutrient facts. Also, maybe something that's happening that is just in the legality world or the laws that are happening with food service. That's also interesting and relevant information. Now, when posting and tweeting and retweeting on Twitter, obviously you want to include photos of your food. No big surprise there, but you want to think about the time of day that you're tweeting. And you also will want to mix up the days and times that you publish content, and please be sure to keep track of your metrics. I promise you, through trial and error, you will find the schedule and content variety that works best for your restaurant, which is also going to tell you what works best for your audience. there is not just one answer. I get asked almost every seminar, well, what's the best time to tweet, Emma? If there were one answer for everyone, I'd tell you this would probably be my last seminar, right? There would be no demand. It's not that simple, unfortunately. So you do have to go through trial and error. But check this out, Easy Tiger, they are a restaurant that serves breakfast. So they are tweeting in the morning. This is a tweet about a photo of coffee and a treat. I mean, that's a great time to resonate with a future breakfast audience. Kick off your morning with an easy start, coffee, pastry, $5. Sign me up, right? That sounds amazing. And if, for example, let's say it's a rainy day or a snowy day, remind your customers that you deliver. That's another great way of paying attention to the time of day and what you're posting and when you're posting it. So that takeaway tip really is, put yourself in your customers' shoes, in their bellies. Think about what they would want to see and know about. And then ask questions. This is one of my favorite ways to get a conversation started. I'm going to use the Gumbo Shop as an example here. And when you ask questions like this, what did you order last time you were here? Great question. You're letting your customers do the marketing for you by letting them just chime in and watch what happened. I love this. So Gumbo Shop tweets this out to the world, and I wasn't able to capture every response because there were a lot, but I just captured some of my favorites. So we got Tim and Joey and Paul and all these people we don't know, we'll never meet, but that doesn't matter. In consumer behavior today, when they see customers talking on social media about whatever they like to eat or drink, they're essentially sharing testimonials, that resonates as a referral to almost 90% of social media users. So by asking this question and getting happy customers talking, the Gumbo Shop is spreading some serious word of mouth on Twitter. So obviously, if I've never been to the Gumbo Shop and I'm looking at these tweets, clearly gumbo is the way to go when you go here. They even have vegan gumbo. Who would have thought, right? Way to attract everybody. I love it. But you got Paul, who loves everything. You got Joey, who goes on about the seafood, the gumbo, the red beans and rice. You got the Creole combination platter. People are more likely to order things that the customers are talking about. And the more customers you have talking about you online, the more likely not only are you to be found over your competition, but you're going to be more likely to be chosen. And that's a proven best practice. Now, while tweeting and what content you do to tweet is important, don't forget to retweet. Retweeting is another great way to save you time. So this is just a few ideas of what to retweet. Everything from, let's say a customer tweets about your business directly, and you simply just click retweet on that. There's your content for the day. Move on to other things that you do. You have a million things to do, but you still need to have a social media presence that you don't just post once a month. It's not going to do anything for you. You got to be posting a few times a week. So here you got Grandma Gibby on Twitter. See, all ages are on Twitter. She tweeted about how the gumbo, it's just the best gumbo in the world, is found in Louisiana. And she's doing a huge shout out to the Gumbo Shop. And what I love, and you can see it right at the top of that tweet, right above where it says Grandma Gibby, Gumbo Shop retweeted it. There's their content for the day and their content that acts like word of mouth. So rather than the Gumbo Shop hopping on Twitter today and tweeting to the world, we have the best gumbo in town, like, okay, yeah, you could say that all day. You own your business, you're biased. What's going to weigh in more with customers? Grandma Gibby, because she is word of mouth. She's a referral. Whether you know her or you'll never know her, I've never met her. I've talked about Grandma Gibby a lot. I hope to meet her one day. I love using this example. But think about it. What could I retweet from my customers about my industry and about my local area? And then to conclude with Twitter, before we'll go on to our next platform, Facebook, I want to strongly encourage, this is where return on investment, a clear return on investment comes in, and that's with the advanced search setting on Twitter. And so this is something that you can use. It doesn't cost money to use. It's actually just, it's an option in the search bar on Twitter. And it will look like this on the screen here, where you can really get specific. All these words, I want to search for none of these words, these hashtags, and most importantly, you can look around a specific location. So no, I don't mean to stump anybody, but I hope it's obvious where the place would be. It would be your restaurant, right? You want to start a conversation with someone nearby. And so brainstorm search terms, everything from really identifying who is my typical customer, what kind of words would they be tweeting. If I'm a pizza place, look for people talking about pizza. If I'm a dive bar, look for people who want to get a cheap drink or happy hour. If I'm a classy restaurant, that's going to definitely filter out what kind of keywords and hashtags, etc., that you're going to look for. So I encourage you all to start a conversation, and I have an example of a cafe. This is the Blue Cafe, and they're doing this strategy clearly because they reached out to this guy on November 8th. Now, this guy tweeted, in other news, today is Taco Tuesday. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking right away, who cares? Who cares about this random person talking about Taco Tuesday? But if you're a restaurant, this makes a ton of sense to chime in, even if you don't have tacos, actually. Now, we do this strategy for over 10,000 businesses, and we have taken this approach since 2010. It's 2018. We're still doing it. We would not utilize our time, our resources, and our energy for thousands of customers every day starting conversations on Twitter if we didn't see a return on investment. So proven best practice, try it out. Start conversations with people in your area. Now, the Blue, what they did, and I encourage you to take this approach, be conversational. The Blue chimed into this tweet, "Oof, yum, did you crush that whole thing?" And this guy replies, "Sure did, they were delicious, hashtag Taco Tuesday." And on November 9th, the Blue Cafe replies, "Sounds great to us, are tacos your one weakness?" So again, very conversational. They weren't just like, "Oh, you like to eat? We have food, we're open till 6, come on down." You got to kind of preheat the oven here. So then this guy replies, November 9th, same day, just likes great food in general. And then, look, he even says, "I'm looking forward to trying your place next visit." That alone is wonderful. I would call that a win because you got top of mind with this potential customer. But we're going to take it further. And the Blue replies the next day, like, "Yeah, that's the spirit. When do you think we'll see you?" So this is really noteworthy to mention. At this point, it was a perfect time for the Blue to shift into more of a let's plug the business because of the response we received on November 9th from this, we'll call it potential customer. Like, hey, they're already talking about coming by for their next visit. This is a time to plug. So Moth Dad, I don't know why that hashtag is that, but this guy replies, "Sometime next month before Christmas." So it's November 10th, not right away, but pretty amazing what happens. The Blue says, "Yeah, can't wait. Hope to see you then." And then on January 13th, this guy comes in, does business at the Blue Cafe, mentions him clearly. That's how we saw a clear return on investment here. And then takes a picture of what he ordered and even says himself, "Because of this tweet from your restaurant, I decided to give you guys a try and I was not let down." So get on Twitter. I cannot, I guess, convince you more than this because this is a clear return on investment. But it's a different platform than Instagram, and it's different than Facebook, and they all work better together. So go on there, jump into conversations. Even if the person you engage with on Twitter doesn't immediately make a reservation or doesn't immediately sit down at your table and order a bunch of food, they might just click to your Twitter profile, check out your restaurant, and look at what you have to offer. And by reaching out and engaging in conversations on Twitter, you'll add more users to your online community, which is a big win, and you'll stay top of mind with food lovers in your area. So I hope that was inspiring. I have thousands of examples of these, so Don't hesitate to reach out if you're not convinced. I would be happy to share some more wins. These are Twitter wins. But for now, I want to jump into Facebook. So Facebook is definitely no surprise. It's gotten more pay to play, but organic word of mouth still exists. And I'm going to share some of our best practices, creative ways to spread more word of mouth there, get more people talking about your restaurant. So you want to make sure you are encouraging. I use that word because I don't want this to go and be digested as soliciting feedback. No, no, no. We don't want to do that. We want to encourage customers to share their experiences about your restaurant online. Now, helping at the end of the day, it's going to help you get more positive word of mouth. Now, there are a few ways you can do this, and I have one example here. This is my favorite way to do it, cross promotion, and the Boardwalk Sub Shop is doing it, where they simply post it on Facebook about their, and I love it, they're using their staff, which we know gets more engagement, a short caption, and then a link in the caption to their Yelp page. So this is just getting in front of your biggest fans. Like, clearly I'm not going to follow the Boardwalk Sub Shop on Facebook if I think their subs are no bueno. I'm not going to. I'm going to follow them on Facebook because I think their subs are awesome. They taste great. So these are the best people, your social media followers, to get in front of and remind them, hey, we're over on Yelp, we're over on Google, we're over on TripAdvisor, to help cross promote them. And after all, which is why I put this on the screen, because this is so powerful, only 10% of people say, oh, I never look at online reviews before I spend money. So that's a small percentage. So it's crucial that you ask your valued customers to share all of their experiences online. And on top of that, over 70% of people say when they read a positive review online, they trust a local business. So I have a poll question here before I explain Cafe 35 a little bit further, and that is, have you ever cross-promoted a positive review to your Facebook page? So quick answer, yes or no. And just to recap, what is cross-promotion? It's where you take a positive review that you received, so Yelp or Google, TripAdvisor, and then you actually created a Facebook post about it. So once we get some more people replying here, and then we'll broadcast the results so we can all see who's doing what. And if you're still unclear about what does that mean, cross promotion, I'll explain it again. Cool. 62% no. Interesting. All right, cool. So 62% of you, wow, said no, I haven't cross-promoted a review. Over 60% of people haven't. Well, that alone has been worth your time today listening in on this webinar. You learn now that cross-promotion is something you can do. This is it's a competitive edge. It's also another way to vary your content and get content for the day. Hey, let's say you have writer's block. We all hit it at some point. Like, I just am not feeling witty or creative today. And so what could I do? What could I do? Bingo, let's take a review that you received at some point in time about your restaurant from Yelp or Google or TripAdvisor. I'd recommend those 3 spots. Put it on your Facebook page, quote it, maybe give it a colorful background. Maybe use your brand colors. Also, there's a site called Canva, C-A-N-V as in victory, A. Canva is another great place where you could add a little bit more than just a plain blue background. You could add some things to jazz it up a little bit, make it more appetizing. So I encourage you all to do that. Cross-promote your reviews. But speaking of reviews, don't forget about your Facebook reviews. So 2 things. 1, when you receive a review on Facebook, whether it's a glowing 5-star review, like Deborah left for Arlo's, or a negative review, respond. Respond, 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 and respond to all of them and respond in a personable way. This is another thing, proven best practice alert. We respond to all of our 10,000 customers' reviews, whether it's a Facebook review, a Yelp review, a Google review, a TripAdvisor review, you name it. We respond, and we respond on behalf of the business. So it looks as if the business is doing it. And when our writers, they write in a way that really is in a line with the voice of the business. Because you can't go on there, I mean, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. You can't go on there and just start saying thank you or sounding repetitive or like a computer. Everyone reading that response by you will potentially be put off. They might lose their appetite if you just sound generic. So you want to really use the opportunity to not only acknowledge people like Deborah, who left great reviews, but use the opportunity to show everyone else that you have great customer service. Because I'm going to read this review from Deborah and already be like, oh, wow, this place sounds amazing. I want to eat there. She said the food's delicious. But on top of it, the way Arlo's responded was personable. And that's going to hold, like, that's going to weigh in as, oh, they really listen to their customers. Oh, they have great customer service. And keep in mind, too, when talking about your content on social media, post shareable content. So I love this post from Arlo's to stick with the theme, and they it made me laugh. They put their address and they're just like, plug this into your GPS, see what happens. You got 114 reactions, 7 shares, and over 6 comments. And it's because it was compelling, it was funny, and it was relevant. And similar to what we covered earlier, I just need to circle back with it because it's also important on Facebook to take the content that your customers are creating for you, in other words, because they're tagging you, and repurpose it on your page. So here, Handlebar Austin, really fun bar, by the way. If you haven't been there, go to Austin, go to Handlebar. It's a hoot. What they did is they are paying attention to what their consumers are saying online, and then they repurposed Laura's post of their margarita and added their own witty caption. It's always margarita weather in Texas. That is accurate. Now, with all this in mind, before we do the Q&A, I must go through some social media metrics. This is key. I know it's not as fun as what we just covered, but it's not all about fun. This is your business. So let's see what is important here. Well, you got to track and test. What works for one restaurant on social media might not necessarily work for you. So be sure to track and test again. Now, the best way to track your post performance, that your content's performance, is to use the Insights feature on Facebook. Use the Insights feature on Twitter, and keep track of your engagement rate on Instagram to make sure that the number of followers you have syncs with the number of likes you're getting. So I encourage you all to take a screenshot of this slide or write it down. But I broke down a business goal for each platform and the metrics measured. Now, I want to point out with Facebook, I wrote metrics measured likes. This actually also includes any reactions that you get. So a share, a like, that also would be a great measure, or a comment below. Twitter, all about strengthening relationships. How do I measure that? Well, are people engaging with your tweets? Instagram, no big surprise. What do you do there? Bring in new customers. So how would I measure that? New followers. So let's break down this a little bit further with 3 metrics: brand awareness, customer satisfaction, brand loyalty. So let's start off with brand awareness, which equals reaching new followers. And this is what you want to see month after month. An increase on Instagram of 6 to 8% follower growth. Facebook, 1 to 1.5%, Twitter, 1 to 2%. So as your brand grows and you become more popular, you are able to see an increase, or you hope to, in your post reaching new followers. And when you post on social media, check your analytics to ensure that your reach and follower counts are trending upwards. If not, it might be time to reevaluate what and when you're posting. Not sure what your follower growth rate should look like? Maybe, well, this is what it should look like month over month. Now, with engaging content, businesses can expect this. So write these down, check out how yours is performing. Number 2, customer satisfaction. So consumers, fortunately, they love sharing information about their favorite local businesses with their friends and followers, especially for restaurants. And in fact, 25% of consumers who frequently visit local businesses, they'll tell at least 10 other people about their positive experience, which is rad. And that's online and offline. So what you want to do to measure customer satisfaction, monitor your reviews on Facebook, Twitter, Yelp, Google, TripAdvisor. We do all that for our customers. That's how we can measure this metric. What are those customers saying? It's a great way to gauge how satisfied they are. And more social media users are coming to expect an excellent customer service experience online. In fact, 71% of customers say they'll recommend a business that just responds quickly. So here we got Handlebar Austin. Some guy was in there, probably enjoying a cocktail or a beer, and he took a picture from inside, or actually a few pictures from inside of Handlebar Austin, and he tweeted about it. And what I love is that Handlebar replied. And they said, what can we say? We like to keep you on your toes. So they replied with personality, but most importantly, they have a satisfied customer here. How do we measure that? Well, this customer tweeted and mentioned at Handlebar Austin. So you don't want to let that go unnoticed. And then third, brand loyalty. This is all about engagement. Over 85% of customers who say, I'm loyal to a brand, they'll actually engage with you daily by liking, commenting on, sharing posts, knowing which pieces of content are encouraging your followers to engage is totally key to keeping them coming back. And the good news is you can keep track of the engagement on your posts through each platform's analytic features. So you can nerd out and know what's happening. And once you take a look at your engagement rates, you'll have more information about the loyalty of your customer base. And when your followers show the love they have for your content or brand, make sure you respond. So replying to and liking comments. So here's an example, just to wrap it up. This is a Facebook post by a restaurant of their calamari. Clearly, that's a popular item over there. And just like you'd engage a customer who approached you at your restaurant, face-to-face, the offline world, you want to do the same thing online. And no matter how minor or major a customer's message may seem, taking the time to respond will make your customers adore you even more. And if you need a little bit more motivation, because you might be sitting right now just like, Emma, what kind of spare time do you think I have? Well, this is worth your time. Spending time replying can also increase your bottom line. Customers are 3 times more likely to recommend your business after a positive social media customer service interaction. That's a mouthful. Positive social media customer service interaction. So here, Delia's, you'll notice Phyllis, I just pulled out a few examples of this post, but Phyllis had replied to the calamari, looks delicious. Seems so minor, right? It's 2 words. What I love about Delia's is they responded. You bet it is, Phyllis. Have you had some yet? Same thing over here with Jessica and Chantel. They saw that picture of the calamari. It not only got them hungry, but it motivated them to spend money. And Delia said, Jessica and Chantel, we love the enthusiasm. So they're responding in a way. And what I want to conclude with before the Q&A is make sure you're monitoring your social media pages, all of them, for any questions, complaints, concerns, and responding in a timely fashion is a great way to impress your customers and show them that you care. So again, in this scenario, that's what we saw with Delia's. You saw that throughout the whole seminar today. And I hope that the whole package here and the biggest takeaway is that there's a ton of opportunity online. There's a ton of opportunity for you to spread more word of mouth, boost your customer service, and all the meanwhile doing it in a way that you're like, hey, these are proven best practices. I'm working smarter, not harder. So we'll conclude with that and take questions with the remaining time from the chat box in the GoToWebinar platform.
Thank you, Emma. That was a great presentation. We do have a few questions for you.
Great.
What should I do if someone leaves me a negative review online?
Yeah, so this is a great question. One of my favorites to answer. If someone leaves you a negative review, first of all, it happens at some point for every business. And the best thing is to look at it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to show others that you have great customer service, but also neutralize that negative experience with that customer. So you want to respond in a way that truly addresses the pain point. What was it that really upset that customer? Was it that they had to wait too long to be seated? Was it that the food was cold and lacked flavor? What was it? Or was it the experience with the hostess? Hone in on the pain point and then apologize. Defend your business without being defensive. And most importantly, take ownership. And what will happen? Maybe you'll lose that customer. Maybe they'll never come back. I hope that's not the case. But don't lose new customers, potential new customers over that one bad review. So respond publicly. That's the point of that. Respond publicly, apologize, take ownership, and defend without being defensive.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
On Instagram, do you think user-generated photos or stories are more effective?
Great question. So user-generated photos versus stories. We at Main Street Hub, we don't have any data that I can back that up with because we do more so just user-generated photos or videos. So I can't speak to it on a professional level of what we have at Main Street Hub, but I will look further into research to see what is being said as from specifically restaurants in the industry, what is seen a return on investment. Either way, just incorporating user-generated content into your strategy is the biggest takeaway tip that you can do. Just make sure you are including it. And if you can do both, go for it. And feel free to email me so I can have a chance to just collect some most recent data on what's more powerful, story versus on the grid.
Should hashtags be in the post or in a comment separate from the initial post?
Great question. So what we do is we include it in the post, the caption. And a lot of times when you see it in a comment, it's because businesses are under the impression the more the merrier. So they'll do the max in the caption and then comment and do more. And what we have found is you actually want to not go over 10 hashtags. And I would even encourage to keep it more around 4 or 5 and keep it in the caption.
In terms of Yelp, do we need permission to use a quote from Yelp?
So the cool thing about Yelp is, so using a quote, I'm assuming you're asking about using a review like I shared Emily from Yelp about the yeast rolls. No, you don't. That's already public information. Like I could go to that Beverly Hills Cafe's Yelp page right now and read reviews, right, without permission. So by taking in a review that's already on this public page like Yelp, and you're just quoting it as it was written, is totally kosher. You just need to take the time to create that post. You don't have to ask for permission.
And if you're taking a photo from the internet, do you need permission to use that photo?
So there's some variance there for sure. I think what I would recommend is using, there's sites that we recommend to use where you kind of just have like a plethora of options to choose from that are safe. They're safe to play with and post on social media. I would say, I would encourage you to email me so I can give you some links to the sites that we encourage, so I can speak on behalf of Main Street Hub, the ones we use for our customers. But the good news is that while you do, there are sites that you can pull from and you don't have to worry about copyright or anything. But on top of that, back to user-generated content, that's another way that is not only a photo that you didn't take, but a photo that you can shout out the customer that took it. And that's going to have a lot more impact than just a photo from some website. So I would encourage you to really repurpose your customers' photos, because then they love it. like I always feel super valued if a restaurant or my favorite sports bar uses my photos. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm forever loyal to you, versus just using a stock photo. And then in addition, take your own photos. Like, for the majority of us, walk around with a smartphone that takes really good photos. So taking the time to snap a photo before a plate of food goes out, or do a quick video of the bartender making a cocktail, use that technology that we're walking around with in our pocket as an opportunity to take your own photos as well. So it really looks like your food, your drinks.
Fantastic insights. Do you have a recommendation for a good tool to track metrics regularly?
Yeah, so what we have found for our 10,000 customers, as you can imagine, that's a lot to keep track of, especially because for each one we're managing multiple sites. So I'm a little biased because at Main Street Hub we do it for you, and we have a dashboard where we can look at it all together, the analytics in one spot. If you're going to do this on your own, I'm honestly not as familiar with the tools out there to help you measure metrics other than the ones the platforms provide, which are pretty good. If you go to Instagram and you have, in fact, a business page set up there, for example, they give you a lot of great insight and how your engagement is doing. Same for Facebook and same for Twitter. So the biggest takeaway tip and why I covered social media metrics today is that, one, bring awareness to the importance of it to influence your future posting, and so you're getting better and better at it. But also that these platforms do, if you approach them with the metrics I advise, you can do this measuring, if you will, by just using what the platform already provides you versus paying for anything.
And I have one more question for you, Emma. If I had to choose one platform to focus my efforts on, which would be the best?
Another popular question, and you're not going to like my answer for those of you still listening in. So I would strongly advise to not sell yourself short and just focus on one. I know that time is of essence. Again, I have spoken to thousands of restaurants. I know that timing is of essence. My parents owned a restaurant. I would either find a way to be more strategic with your time and therefore manage all three, or outsource. Because if you just hone in on one, you're missing a different demographic or new customers. And they work better together anyways. Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, they work better together. And for example, again, if you just hone in on Instagram, because that's what you like the best, you actually wouldn't reach me because I spend more time on Twitter. So there's different customers who are going to have a preference for different platforms. Why not reach all of those customers? And they could very well absolutely still be your target audience. So use all three. And if you don't have the time, then definitely look into outsourcing so you're not losing the chance to get more business.
Great. Well, Emma, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you to the audience as well. We do hope to see you at one of our upcoming shows, whether it be Coffee Fest, our newly launched Healthy Food Expos, Western Food Service and Hospitality Expo, Florida Restaurant and Lodging Show, our new joint venture, the NGA Show, or the International Restaurant and Food Service Show of New York. On behalf of all of us at the food shows, we thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.